Welcome to the Hockey Writers Chicks and Sticks, a weekly show hosted by some of our best female hockey writers, bringing you the latest news, rumors, trades, player grades, game results, and much more. From talking hockey with NHL personalities to tackling the latest big issues, our team covers everything hockey and more. So sit back, relax, and enjoy some Chicks and Sticks.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 23 of Chicks and Sticks, brought to you by the Hockey Writers. My name is Melissa Boyd, and I'm once again joined by my partners in crime, Kristy Flannery, Hannah Garfield, and Mariah Stark. How are you doing tonight, ladies?
Great.
Living it up.
I see that, Hannah. I can tell. So if you're enjoying our show, make sure to drop us a like, a follow, or a comment from wherever you're watching or listening. And this week, in addition to our usual team updates, we'll be discussing a couple of off-ice topics that have been stirring up some debate early on this season. So we'll kick things off with our team updates. So from around the league, because we span the NHL. We as we mentioned in episode 1, we planned it this way. So we'll start out. Let's say we'll start out west with Minnesota, who had a very exciting game this week. Tell us about it, Mariah.
Oh my gosh, they nearly killed me like 3 times. My heart couldn't take it. So I actually missed the first couple periods, but when I got home, watched it, and like, oh, we're doing okay. Get down 2 goals. I'm like, okay. And then the goal was disallowed, and they literally lit a fire under their butts and came back with a vengeance and won. It was insane, incredible, and they're 3-0, and I'm really happy about that, other than the fact Kaprizov hasn't scored a goal yet. But I'll take it, being we're actually winning and not losing. So I'll take it.
Yes, trust me. Speaking from Montreal, you take the wins when you can get them. How about in Boston, Hannah? How are things?
Well, they've only played 2 games. So. I mean, no, it's like they've only played 2 games. I don't know who made this schedule, as we talked about last week. I mean, they played a game Saturday and they played a game Wednesday, and we're recording on Thursday. So there's not too much to talk about yet. They played great against Dallas, not so great against Philly. I mean, at least they had their moments where they started to come back against Philly, and then it just got away from them. And as expected, Boston fans are already starting on the hate Jeremy Swayman train. You get rid of one goaltender who you basically run out of town, and now you're going to start on the next one. I would love to see how fans would react if Rass returns in February. I think that would be a very interesting time in Boston. But no, I mean, there's obviously things that need to be worked on. Consistency is an issue. The defensive depth continues to be questionable. But there's nothing to really start freaking out about yet for Boston, even though Boston fans already are. And leave Jeremy fucking Swayman alone. Just leave him alone. He's played 12 games. He's not a bust yet.
I'm going to start with a disclaimer on the top of the show from now on.
Oh my gosh, I swore again, didn't I?
I even tried not to, and I was like, well, Hannah might, so can I?
I don't mean to. It just slips out, guys.
That's okay. That's all right. People understand. It's okay. Kristy, how's life on the Devils beat?
So they are one of a handful of teams that are undefeated, even though they've only played 2 games, but we're going to celebrate while we can. That winning streak might come to an end tonight. They're currently playing the Washington Capitals, and the Caps lead 2-0. I guess the biggest storyline for the Devils so far has actually been injuries. Jack Hughes he fell very awkwardly in the game against Seattle. The hit wasn't questionable. It was a fine hit. He just landed the wrong way. He dislocated his left shoulder. There's no surgery that is going to be required at this time. So it's just rehabbing. He should be back in a couple weeks. So not to panic. I know a lot of Devils fans are panicking at that. Nothing to panic about yet. Blackwood is on IR. He's still rehabbing off ice. Jonathan Bernier is not playing tonight, or he didn't even suit up for tonight. So he's injured. So we have Scott Wedgwood in goal tonight, who let in 2 in the first period. So it's just, we're getting there. We're enjoying the moment and bracing for injuries is what we're doing.
Well, yeah. And, that's a sigh of relief on Jack Hughes, because could have been a lot worse.
People were panicking. I'm like, yeah, chill for 2 seconds. It's fine.
Yeah, well, and when you see the image of him grabbing his shoulder, you're like, uh-oh, like, that's not good.
No, it's not.
So anyways, probably the best case scenario, all things considered.
That's what I think. They popped it back into place and we're good to go. It's fine.
In Montreal, where do I start? So 0-4, 3 goals for in those 4 games. They're currently playing the Hurricanes. Did not score in the first period, so we're still on that goalless drought. Marc Bergevin actually did a impromptu press conference yesterday. Literally no one knew. He just showed up the podium. So I think it was an interesting move. I don't necessarily agree with it, as I wrote in an article today. Sorry for the self-promotion, but
do it.
But yeah, this guy is falling in Montreal after 4 games, and we'll see what other fun things we have in store. I'm sure it's only going to get more crazy from here. But literally there's nothing good to report other than in my stats I also forgot to say only 1 forward has scored a goal, and that is Jonathan. Bless his heart.
Good for Jonathan.
Right?
Go Joe.
That's a good story.
Yeah. All right, so enough of the drums in Montreal. Let's move on to some more exciting topics. So these are a bit, I won't say controversial topics, but they're topics that are generating a bit of debate on both sides. So some are in agreement, some are in disagreement. So that's why I thought it would be cool to discuss that this week. The first topic is dress code. So we all know the tradition is suit and tie for pregame, walk-ins, I guess, arena walk-ins, if you could call it that. And leagues, especially the NBA, has actually abolished the dress code. Right now in the NBA, coaches don't even have to wear suit and tie anymore on the bench. So it's trending in that way where, the NHL hasn't until this season. So the Arizona Coyotes are a team that has sort of eliminated the dress code. The players can dress as they please. The Toronto Maple Leafs last week announced that they were going to loosen their dress code to business casual. So still somewhat a rule, but less so. And I can tell you that Austin Matthews is very excited about this news. He's been a proponent for this change for a while. So, and I have to say, I saw his first pregame outfit, and it was pretty cool. So he delivered on that. So I wanted to know where you girls stand on this topic. I guess we'll start with Hannah. Do you think there should be one or not one? Should the league implement something, a league-wide policy, or should it be up to each team? What do you think?
I maybe this is just because I'm not a super traditional person, but I'm just like, let them what they want. Like, who really cares if they wear it to walk into the arena? Like, who really cares if they're wearing a suit or not? Like, who cares what they're wearing at all? They could show up in sweatpants and like a sweatshirt for all I care. Like, I think there's just no need for a dress code. And I mean, I guess if a team really wants to, then fine. They can do it. That's their prerogative. But the players clearly don't seem to want it. I don't think it's necessary. And it feels like one of those things that we, how there's just like things we do because we've always done them, but we don't really know why we do them. And that's how I feel about this. It's like, why do we do it? Just because it's always been done that way, and does it need to keep being done that way? And my answer is no.
Kristy, are you of the same, are you on the same side as Hannah there?
I can debate this in my own head. On one hand, who doesn't love a man in a suit and a tie? Let's just get that out of the way real quick. But I'm also the first one to say that players don't show enough personality, and allowing them to dress as they want gives them another chance to show personality. But I think I love a suit and a tie. I do. Show personality, but do it in a suit and tie. That's where I stand.
Mariah, where do you stand?
I'm like Kristy. I'm both. I'm kind of Hannah. I'm the opposite of you. I am huge on the traditional aspect. I'm not saying they have to wear like suit and tie, but I do think there should be some form of
cohesiveness.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily like the idea of them showing up to like practice is one thing when you show up in sweatpants and a sweatshirt as like the team outfit. As far as a game, I do think there should be a little bit more like I don't know. I'm not against loosening it at all. I just think there should be some sort of thing in place because they are a team. You don't want one player sticking out from the rest, even if it is Austin Matthews. He can do fine, but that's not what you want to focus on either.
I mean, PK Subban would dominate New Jersey. Like, let's be honest with each other.
Well, I was gonna say he already dominates the suit and tie game, so I can only imagine
He does.
What he would do if he had even more
free range.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm with Mariah. Actually, I think it can be loosened or changed, but I do like the idea of team unity before a game. It's just, to me, professional. It shows that they're together, obviously, and doing this. So, but I know a lot, like in the playoff bubble 2 years ago, they did sort of do away with the suit and tie, and I really liked what some teams did, having the same polo shirt for everybody. Like, for me, that works. But at the same time, I do like that they get to express their personality, because it is, it may interest the casual fan or attract somebody, and who knows what kind of deals or even sponsorships that could open up for them. But I'm for the team unity, but you can dress down too at the same time.
They can loosen it a bit.
Yeah, I agree completely. So next topic is fun, actually. Goal songs. So usually, we know, as we spoke about, tradition. Hockey is all about tradition, and one tradition is, your team selects the goal song for home goals, and it kind of stays that way. It kind of sticks with fans, and then after a while, they might decide to change it. But something that the Buffalo Sabres are doing this year, something new, is allowing each player to have their own goal song, which is really innovative and something they do in baseball. So when a player goes up to the plate to bat, everyone has like a walk-up song kind of thing. So same idea. So I thought that was really interesting, especially for a team like Buffalo, who's trying to generate interest, and and even Rasmus Dahlin has put out on social media that he wants fans to select his goal song for him. So what do you guys think? Again, should this remain a unity thing, or should a player be allowed to, go free reign on this? Kristy, we'll start with you for this one.
I love this. I think every team should do this across the board. I think the Caps did it, and I want to say LA did it too. I don't think Buffalo's the first team. This is how you show personality. I love this. Support it 100%.
And what would your goal song be?
It took me days to figure this out. Like, this was like the hard-hitting question of my life for the past couple of days. After a lot of internal debating and internal conversations, I am going with Rock You Like a Hurricane by Scorpion.
Ah,
I'm going
interesting.
80s.
I like it.
As someone who's been to a Canes game, really fun when they like skate out to that song. Like,
Right?
It's a fun song.
It's
to
a
play in
pump up
hockey
song.
arena.
It's a good one. And if I played for the Canes, I mean, duh. I mean, anyone wants to hire me from the Canes. I'm available.
Hannah, do you think, are you for this unique goal song selection?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like it's one of those things that I'm like, why is this even really a debate? Like it's like a fun, like I went to a Red Sox game in September and it was so much fun, like kind of like tracking whose song was what, and like, you know, it gives them personality and it makes you like, you know, especially like when you hear a song that you really like, that's a player's goal song, you're like, or, you know, walkout song in case of baseball, you're like, oh yeah, that's my dude. Like, I don't know. I think it would be fun. Like, I don't see, I mean, I guess for like some teams like Chicago, which has such an iconic goal song as it is, like,
that'd be tough.
I could kind of get like being resistant in their case, but like for like all these other teams, like Bruins, like I know their goal song, like I've heard it, but at the same time, I wouldn't be devastated to see it go and like have each of them have their own song. Like I think it'd be so fun.
And fans are always mixed with the goal song. Like I know in New Jersey, like it's always an issue with the goal song is because everyone hates it. Everyone despises it.
Yeah. Mariah, what do you think?
Anna didn't say her song choice.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry.
Oh,
Hannah, your song choice.
Put you on the spot.
Considering I work for the Patriots and I hear them run out to Crazy Train every single game, I think that would have to be my song.
I love that.
I like, see it. Okay, NHL players, if you need any suggestions, please come to us. Okay?
I feel like we need to do a Spotify playlist after this so that our viewers can do all the songs.
Chicks and Sticks playlist coming your way.
Yeah.
Mariah, you want, I know you want tradition, don't you?
No.
Are we gonna be unanimous on this?
Wow.
I love this because growing up as a band kid, I'm obsessed with music. So I love the idea of this, and it shows the players' personalities without necessarily changing, because the Wild changes their goal song every year anyway. And I mean, they did one when Prince passed. They did one of his songs this year. I had no idea what it was until someone posted on Twitter. In case you're wondering, it's Shout. I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Like Shout, like the song that they play at weddings. Shout.
I feel like they used to have a really good one that I really liked.
Oh, they've cycled through different ones.
Yeah, Shout's not going to do it for me.
No.
And your goal song would be?
So I thought a little bit about this before the show, but I came down to the fact it would have to be something Nickelback. I had Nickelback at my wedding. And it came down to two songs, and I think I would choose Bottoms Up. Even if it's not necessarily the most appropriate for children.
I like that.
Who cares about the children?
Okay. Yeah,
as long as they don't listen too far, they don't know.
And honestly, you're bringing your children to see a sport where like people get hit and it's completely legal. So
the Superman punch. I mean, so yeah,
very good.
For it.
I'm very impressed, ladies. I really like the effort you put into this. Well, I'm gonna make it unanimous. Yes, I'm gonna make it unanimous. I think it's a great idea. We're screaming at the NHL all the time to, loosen up and show some more personality and be a little different outside the box. And this is a great way to do it. Although I will say I don't trust every player in the NHL to pick a good song for this. You know what?
I approve it first.
Yeah. Like, some people are like, no, that's not a goal song, but you can just see it now. But I
mean, NSYNC is now a goal song. So anything can happen.
Miley Cyrus, Party in the USA. Gotta love Jeff Skinner.
But it makes you appreciate them even more,
I've always loved Jeff Skinner, and when I saw that he chose Party in the USA, I'm like, love you even more.
Hannah's like, that's my boy.
Well, my goal song, to stick with the theme of Chicks and Sticks, girl power, I would say Man, I Feel Like a Woman would be my goal song.
Ah, that's great.
That'd be a good one.
And the guys get really into that song too.
Yeah,
Like, really
yeah,
kidding.
that's
Everyone
it.
gets into that song.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
That's a
So,
classic.
I figure, yeah. And me too. Every time that song comes up, I'm like, I'm off. Like, I'm see ya in, see you when it's over.
That's the best.
Yeah.
And she's Canadian. I mean, what's
Of
better?
course.
What's better?
Oh, I have to. Canadian content. Make sure. Okay, so
I mean, it can't be Michael Bublé, so we got to go with Shania
no,
Twain.
that's it. Or Celine Dion. I mean, you could choose the Titanic song, but it's a little, I know everyone like puts like dramatic goals,
It kind of builds though towards the end of the song, though.
Yeah, but it's actually amazing how it works every time, and you're like, whoa, like
From the near, far, wherever you are, that works as a goal song.
That would be good for like the assists, right? As you're naming the assists, that's the part of the song that's played.
One of the Sabres had Shake Your Tail Feather. I
don't
don't know which one, but I was like, okay.
I saw that. This is the hard-hitting stuff that I need to know. I got to ask the Devils this. This article's going to write itself.
I feel like you should get on that with their PR. Like, be like, come on, guys, like, let's just do this.
There's your question for your next press conference.
Yeah.
That's not the power play. I'm like, excuse me.
Now you can ask Dougie that.
Goal song.
Yeah.
We got to talk about goal songs here.
Ask Dougie what his goal song would be.
It would be country. I don't know why. I have no basis to think that, but I think it would be country. Next week, maybe we'll find out.
Yes, go investigate that for us and come back. Well, I should have why didn't I put this topic last? I really should have, because now we have to talk about serious stuff.
Anna's asked.
Not nearly as much fun.
Now it's Hannah's moment to shine.
Yeah. Sorry. Oh, that's why I put it last, because I wanted to make sure.
I'm not prepared.
So this is a hot button topic all the time, basically, especially lately, considering because of the pandemic and the flat salary cap that teams have had to maneuver around the last few seasons. So salary cap is our last topic. And that's because, well, speaking of the Toronto Maple Leafs again, I tell you, they're in the news all the time. They this past weekend, they had to sign a goaltender to an amateur tryout to be the team's backup for their game last Saturday night after Peter Mrazek was injured, because they did not have enough space under their cap to call someone up from the American Hockey League. So this was their last resort. And of course, because it was Toronto, of course, this sparked a lot of debate and a lot of people speaking out against the salary cap and that there shouldn't be one in the NHL. Most sports professional leagues don't have one, or have something similar to that, but not that strict. So where do you stand on the salary cap? Should it be there? Should it be abolished? Should there be some other restriction, like a luxury tax or something else to keep teams from freewheeling on their spending? Mariah, we'll start with you on this one.
Of course you would start with me.
I'm sorry. You look like you're, right.
I don't know. I'm kind of both sides on this. I think there needs to be some sort of limit, because I don't know if it necessarily makes it more fair amongst the teams, but I don't think they should be able to spend whatever they want either. And there should be some sort of, like, in their situation, they should be able to pay the player an actual contract, but like the luxury tax you had talked about, I think something along those lines, just so you can pay the player the amount they should be paid for playing in a professional game, but also penalize the team for not being prepared to have to move contracts around and things like that. But this is Hannah's thing. Like, I understand the salary cap, like, barely. I'm still learning and I need to learn a lot more. So that
was good. That was good. Good way to kick us off on this. Kristy, what do you think?
I wish I had more of an opinion on this. I probably should from a fan standpoint. The only thing that I feel is that teams and organizations shouldn't be able to buy a franchise, like buy a championship team. That's kind of just where I stand with it. So there should be something in place. Because I don't want to see somebody go and be like, oh, I could pluck you and you, pay you $12 million each. And then like, I don't want that in hockey.
Mm-hmm. I agree. It's kind of like what the NBA does, where
exactly
you can basically build these super teams with like.
Isn't that what the Miami Heat did basically?
Yeah, like with
I don't want that.
Big three, the teams sort of build around three star players, and I don't fully understand how their salary works, but
yeah.
It's something along those lines where it's like you can have so many max contracts on your roster, and then but I don't like that super team notion. I just find it takes away, because you're literally only interested in those teams, and then all 25 others are not really
I feel like with the NBA though, one or two players really can win a
Mm-hmm.
championship. I think hockey's a little bit different. Like you can have Connor McDavid, doesn't mean you're going to get a Stanley Cup. So I think even with that, it would still be more of a challenge than like an NBA team. I just don't like the idea of it.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I mean, because in basketball, you can have your starting five can play 45 out of 60 minutes of a game.
Yeah.
In hockey, that it doesn't work that way. So you can pay those major big contracts for three players, because you could build a team around three players, and you can't do that in the NHL. So I feel like even if they went away with the salary cap, they wouldn't necessarily be able to they still wouldn't necessarily be able to build super teams, because you would need to, even if you had a Connor McDavid and a Austin Matthews and a Sidney Crosby, and if you took every top player in the league and put them on a team, no NHL team is going to be able to afford that, because the NHL does not make as much money as a lot of the other leagues in North America. They are. I did a project on this in undergrad, and so it's been at least 2 years since I looked at this. But the NHL, is the NFL's here, NBA's here, MLB's here, and then NHL is like down here, from what I remember. Like. The salary cap exists for the NHL because it's not a super lucrative league like other leagues in the North America and around the world. So while I'm also torn on this, because I do see the point, like, for a professional league, you shouldn't have to be able to sign college kids to play in an NHL game because you don't have the money.
Yeah.
But again, part of understanding, NHL caps and being an NHL team is understanding that you need to fall under a certain amount of money, because the card cap does exist, and it's on you if you're not able to work with that. So I mean, so what this comes down to is I'm also, like Kristy and Mariah, a little torn, because this is such a weird situation. I don't think it's a situation any of us could have foreseen happening. But I think Toronto needs to take some responsibility too for how they manage their cap space, and not just complain about. I mean, it's to some extent you got yourself into that position. But yeah, do I wish the cap would go up? Yes, of course I wish the cap would go up. I wish it would be so interesting if it did. But I think the hard cap exists for a reason, and I don't necessarily hate it. And I think that if it did go away, I think a lot of the people who complain about it would also complain about having no cap either. Like there's certain people that are never gonna be happy. I don't know. I think it's a conversation that can still be happening and should still continue to happen. And maybe in a couple of weeks, my opinion will change. But right now, I do think that it exists for a reason, and it should exist for a reason.
Yeah, I agree. I think it exists also to protect the smaller market teams as well.
Yeah.
Which I think is important in a league like the NHL, like you said, that needs as much growth as possible. So you don't want to be gutting those teams because, you know, the big spenders are taking. But the one thing I dislike about the salary cap is I find that it penalizes teams that draft well. So yes, it's great because you can bring those players in on entry level contracts for 3 years, and that really helps. So like, for example, in the case of New Jersey right now with Jack Hughes, right, he's not making a lot of money, but he's a first line, you know, top player. But the thing is, you know, and then again, we're talking about Toronto. So Toronto drafted really well for a few years to rebuild, and now they had to pay those players and now are in a salary cap crunch because they don't want to lose all those players they spent years developing. So
there's so many layers.
Yeah, it's a it's a
this.
double-edged sword for sure. And a topic, and you know, obviously something we're not going to solve. Yeah, I just think like all the other topics we've discussed tonight, I think it's just, you know, adding a little bit more flexibility within the structure would help. I think would be better. So I do wish we did finish on the goal song because it's kind of a you know, gloomy way to end the show, but you know what, it's an important topic that's always being talked about, and you know, teams literally have people within their organizations who manage the salary cap. Like their job is to make sure that the GM can spend, you know, this much money or acquire this player. So, you know, kudos to them. And I guess also kudos to Cap Friendly. Also, for those of you who don't know Cap Friendly, it is a godsend for people like us who try to understand all these numbers. So yeah, that wraps the show for this week. Another great discussion, and already I've got topics like circulating in my and for future weeks. There's so much going on, and yeah, hopefully you know, the Devils and Bruins will start actually playing games so that we'll have more to talk about in our you know, to talk the show and talk a little bit more about your respective teams, but always lots going on. Thanks as always to all of you for watching and listening. We really appreciate it. As I said, we have hopefully lots of good stuff coming in the next few weeks that we're very excited to share with you. And if you're not already, be sure that you're signed up and following everything that the Hockey Writers is doing. We got shows on our YouTube channel every day, sometimes twice a day being posted. Our website has all of our articles, of course, morning newsletter, morningskate.io. Go and sign up. That way you're not missing anything. Follow us on social media. Anyway, listen to our podcasts. Join us on Discord. I know a lot of teams are doing some great things on Discord right now, chatting with fans and during games and stuff. So if you want to get in on that, please do join our Discord channel, Hockey Lounge. And yeah, we'll see you next week.